today I thought I would do a different video of such. I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about my cancer journey. I know I've briefly mentioned it on my channel before that I have cancer, but I haven't exactly explained what kind of cancer I have or my history or anything like that. And I know that when I first got diagnosed, I went on YouTube and I looked up a lot of people's stories and their history and stuff, and I found it really helpful. So I'm just going to start off, pretty much my journey started in 2012 when I found a lump in my abdomen. At first I kind of thought that I was either getting really fat or I was pregnant. I didn't really have any symptoms at all. I still felt healthy, so because I thought I was fat, I did lots of exercise and I tried to, lose some weight because there was an obvious lump in the end of my stomach, like in my abdomen, and so I was doing lots of exercise but it just wouldn't budge, so I thought maybe I might be pregnant. So I took about 4 different pregnancy tests and each of them came up saying that I wasn't and that it was negative. So I thought I better go to the doctor to check out to see what this is. And the doctors did some tests and at first they thought it was a cyst. So I had to be, at this time I was living up north in Karratha, and I had to be flown down to Perth to have surgery. And the surgery ended up taking 3 hours, and they said that they removed a lump that was 15 by 16 centimeters long. So it was quite a big lump that they ended up taking out. So after I had my surgery, they did a biopsy on the lump that they took out, and they found out that it was a borderline tumor. And not many people know, but a borderline tumor is when you have 75% or a certain percentage of the tumor is benign, and the other percentage was malignant. And in my case, it was 75-25. So it was okay. It wasn't a terrible shock or anything. I was pretty okay with the news. The news didn't exactly shake me too much. They just told me I had to go in for regular checkups. So every 3 months I would go into the doctors and I would get checked to see if I had any more tumours arising. During that surgery they actually removed my left ovary because they thought that it would be ovarian cancer. And for about a year or so I was fine, going in for my checkups, getting my ultrasounds, everything was normal. And then probably in October I noticed some lumps in my groin that just didn't seem to go away. I kind of just ignored it for a bit because I knew that if you were sick that sometimes your glands get quite swollen, and so I assumed that it was my glands just reacting to the cold or a flu that I might have had. A little bit later on, probably a couple of weeks after that, I noticed a little lump in my breast, and that got me a little bit worried. So I went to my GP and I asked her to have a look at it, and we took an ultrasound. They thought that it was fine, and then later on I actually raised the issue of my groin, and she thought, well, we should probably send you to your specialist straight away. So I went to go see my specialist, who was the doctor that does all the checkups, and he thought that I might have had lymphoma, which is cancer of your lymphatic system. So I went to the hospital and I had to have surgery. So they removed a couple of my lymph glands in my groin to test it out. When they did, they also did a biopsy on the lump that was in my breast, and they came back and they told me that it was cancer. And it was a bit of a shock when they told me that, I must admit. Wasn't really expecting it. I thought that I kind of was actually expecting it to be cancer, but when they told me it wasn't lymphoma, I was a little bit shocked because I thought that it would be lymphoma, and I know that lymphoma is quite a curable cancer. It's very treatable anyway. But Unfortunately, mine wasn't lymphoma, which sounds weird to say. I kind of wanted it to be that rather than what I have. But in circumstances that I have, later on they did some more tests on the tumour that they took out, and they found out that I have a rare ovarian gastro tumour. So it's not really one or the other. They don't really have a primary source, but it was stage 4 and it had reached my breast and had gone to spread quite extensively throughout my body. Unfortunately, my doctors at this point didn't really have very high hopes for me, and I was told at this time that I would probably only have 6 to 12 months to live. And that was really, really emotional and quite a shock. Talking about it now, I still get a little bit anxious and teary, because it was quite hard hitting, and getting told that you aren't going to live for very long isn't the nicest thing to hear. But to be honest, it's something that I have been told pretty much throughout my treatment, that my cancer, unfortunately the type of cancer that I have, I will probably be fighting it until the day that I die, and whether or not that's going to be years or months, the doctors can't tell me, but as long as they can prolong my life as long as possible, that's all that really we can hope for. Because really at the end of the day, we all are going to pass away one day, and for some of us, unfortunately, it's just earlier than others. So I've had a few surgeries since, after being told that by my specialist. I met one of my new doctors, who's my treating doctor now, who I go and see regularly during my treatment. He's my oncologist, and he was a little bit more positive, which kind of is more relaxing. So he was like, we're going to try and get you into remission, even though they didn't really have very high hopes for me. It was nice to hear that someone was more hopeful for me anyway. So I've been having chemotherapy since. My first treatment was really good. I responded well. Actually, I was going up and down in my tumour markers. So they do blood tests, and every week they tell you whether or not your tumour markers have gone up or down, and that's an indication on whether or not your treatment's working. And at the start, my tumour markers were kind of going up and down and up and down. So they decided that treatment's not really the best one, so we might change it to something else. And then I was on this other treatment, which was also really good. Unfortunately, that treatment, my second one, I lost my hair. So during my first one, my chemotherapy, I didn't lose my hair at all, so I looked like I was still healthy, which was really good. I was going to uni and I felt fine. You know, I didn't go into hospital at all, and then it wasn't really working, and I had a couple of infections, so I had to go into hospital, and then so I had this other treatment which was working really, really well for me, and then probably about 2 months ago my tumour markers skyrocketed from 83, which was as low as it has ever been. When I first got diagnosed, I think it was about 400. My tumour marker was at 400, and it had gotten all the way down to 83, and then it skyrocketed to 12,000, and at the moment it's probably sitting around 1,400, which is still really, really high, so it's not very good. But technically I feel fine. The only real side effects that I'm having is from my surgery, where they took out my lymph glands, and I have swollen feet and legs because of that, though it is getting treated. I had radiation for 5 days in my groin, abdomen, to target my tumours that were there. We're hoping that it worked anyway, and now I'm back onto this new treatment, and we're hoping that this one is the answer and will be the cure for my disease. So yeah, that's basically where I'm at. I pretty much summed it up really quickly. It was a very emotional journey, so I know that everything that I've said right now is probably very matter of fact. This happened here, this, but in reality, you know, I was, sometimes I've had a panic attack. I've developed anxiety since. They found a tumor in they found a lump in my brain that's come back as non-cancerous, but I have to have another MRI later because, you know, they don't know if it will change. So there's all these things that are playing up that you're constantly having to deal with. New medications. I take at least 5 medications in the morning, 3 at night time, you know, every single day, having to change my dressings from my surgery. Anyway, I hope you guys found this helpful. You've found out a little bit more about me. If you're going through the same sort of thing, let me know. I know that it's very hard thing to go through, so if you need some support or you need someone to talk to, I'm always here to let you know. I know exactly what you're going through, so it's good to have that network around you. So I hope you enjoyed this video, a little bit different. Don't forget to subscribe and thumbs up if you liked it. So yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.